Our story begins with a 32-year-old girl who hasn't done anything with her life. Like, absolutely nothing. Not even one single thing. And her name is Ichiko. She dropped out of college years ago, and since then, eating, sleeping, and playing video games are the only 3 things she does all day, every day, year after year. When she does leave the house, it's only to go to the convenience store next door to buy some stuff. She hasn't worked a single day in her life, and no one has ever asked her, "What do you do for a living?" Probably because the answer was already obvious to everyone. Her mom and dad run a store right under their house selling poultry, or rather in Japan, bento, which means boxed meals. Their house is right above the shop, and Ichiko couldn't care less about what happens downstairs or upstairs. She lives in her room up there like a ghost, unseen and unheard, just existing. One day, her older sister Fumiko got divorced and moved back in to live with her parents and help out in the shop. But the moment Fumiko came back, the vibe in the house completely changed. She started nagging her mom, asking, "How long are you going to keep paying for Ichiko like this? And how long will she stay a burden on this family? This girl is totally ruined. She needs to stand on her own 2 feet already." At night, after finishing work, Fumiko would go upstairs and start dropping passive-aggressive hints, making sarcastic remarks, and asking provoking questions to Ichiko. But Ichiko just completely ignored her. She'd go down to the shop and grab whatever she could find to eat. Her mom was also getting fed up with her and told her, "If you don't want to help out in the shop, at least take care of your nephew." To which Ichiko replied, "I am taking care of him, see?" Everything in her life was like stagnant water, my dear viewer, with no waves or movement, just a life stuck in one place. That night, Ichiko went to a discount store to buy some dinner, and since she wasn't in the mood to walk, she took her bike. While picking up a few things in the store, she saw a job flyer hanging on the wall. She stopped in front of it for a moment, looked at it, and then kept walking as if she hadn't even seen it, as if that ad had absolutely nothing to do with her. On her way back, she passed by a boxing gym and saw a guy inside throwing punches and drenched in sweat. Ichiko stopped for a bit and just watched him for a few seconds. Because you see, some things just catch your eye, dear viewer, even if you only see them for a few seconds. The next morning, Fumiko and her mom were getting the shop ready downstairs while Ichiko was sleeping upstairs. Her mom brought her food up and told her, "Today is your dentist appointment, hurry up and go." Ichiko told her there was no point in wasting time for nothing, but her mom insisted, saying, "Go and take care of your teeth." Here, Fumiko chimed in, saying, "Whose money are you using to go to the dentist? The money you worked hard for, or are you waiting for your mom's pension?" That sentence broke something inside Ichiko. She got pissed off and smashed a plate on the floor. Fumiko raised her hand at her, so Ichiko splashed juice on her, and Fumiko retaliated by grabbing a bottle of ketchup and squeezing it all over Ichiko's hair. That was the last straw for both of them, and the sisters got into a massive brawl right on top of the dining table, full of hitting, screaming, and things crashing to the floor. Their mom tried to break them up, then sat down crying, saying, "I'm exhausted. Every time Fumiko comes over, the house turns into a war zone. I can't take this anymore." Ichiko stormed out, and when she came back, she said, "I want to leave this place. I want to live on my own." Her mom told her it wouldn't be easy, paused for a moment, and then added, "But maybe this is for the best, so you can learn to rely on yourself a little." She then gave her some money for rent. That very same day, Ichiko packed her bags and moved into a small rented room, being totally on her own for the first time in her life. And for the very first time, she actually tried to write a resume. Her hands were shaking and her brain just froze because she literally had nothing to write down. After that, she applied for a job at the discount store, the exact same place she always went to buy her breakfast. During the interview, the manager saw right through her and said, "You don't have any work experience, do you?" Ichiko replied, "I used to help my mom out at her bento shop." The manager asked which shop, and when he found out Ichiko was the daughter of the shop owner, the same shop he used to buy food from back in his school days, he smiled, remembering those good old days. And for the sake of those sweet memories, he decided to give Ichiko a shot. But there was only one spot left, the night shift. He told her that if she worked 4 shifts a week, she'd make about $200 a month. Ichiko didn't have any other option, so she agreed and started her training the very next day. There, she met a coworker, Minamo. This guy just never shut up. It was constant babbling, flirting, and being super clingy. Ichiko couldn't stand him, but since she wasn't exactly a talker herself, she kept quiet and just put up with it, as if she was used to just taking it. One day, Kano walked into the store, the same guy Ichiko had seen at the boxing gym. Ichiko was really surprised. Kano bought his groceries but forgot his bananas. After finishing her shift, Ichiko took the bananas and went to the boxing gym to return them to him. During this brief encounter, Kano told her, "I've seen you walking past the gym a few times," and then added, "Let's meet up tomorrow." My dear viewer, Ichiko felt something light up inside her, hope or a heartbeat or something that had been completely dead for years. For the first time, she actually took her time getting ready, putting on some nice, stylish clothes, thinking this day was going to be special and her life was finally going to change. Kano picked her up in a van, and from talking to him, she found out he used to work at a gas station but was now unemployed. He took her to the zoo, but the more they talked, the more Kano's true colors showed. He was exactly like Ichiko. He was just living in this world, completely lost with no direction or purpose. The only thing he actually cared about was boxing. Other than that, his life was empty. The hangout was incredibly awkward. They didn't know how to talk, they didn't laugh, just two people sitting across from each other. In the end, Ichiko asked him, "Why did you ask me out?" Kano answered her bluntly, saying, "Because you look like a girl who wouldn't say no." And that was it. No love, no crush, just a feeling that this girl wouldn't reject him. The next day at work, Namo started nagging her again. "Go out with me, come on, let's go out," asking the exact same question over and over. And Ichiko totally ignored him, but he just wouldn't drop it. Right then, Kano walked into the store to buy bananas. But this time, he didn't have any money, so instead of paying, he left Ichiko 2 tickets to his upcoming boxing match. Shameless Namo was standing right there and saw everything, so he tagged along with her to the match. At the fight, when Ichiko and Namo saw that the guy in the ring was Kano, they were both shocked. Kano fought with everything he had and gave it his all, but he ended up losing. After the match, Ichiko waited for Kano, and they went out to eat together. But that creep Namo followed them and sat at their table like they had invited him. While eating, Kano told them this was his last match because he had passed the age limit, so his boxing career was over. Ichiko asked him, "After the match, why did you and the guy you were fighting pat each other on the shoulder? Are you friends?" Namo answered saying, "That's just normal in boxing. It shows sportsmanship." A bit later, Ichiko got up to go to the restroom, and the moment she left, dear viewer, everything went to hell. Kano asked Namo, "Is there something going on between you two?" Namo the liar replied, "Oh, Ichiko is head over heels for me. She's always begging me to take her out." Kano heard this, and without saying a single word, he punched Namo in the face and left. When Ichiko got back from the restroom, she found everything a mess and Kano was gone. Namo told her he had an errand to run and left. Ichiko didn't understand what was going on. She had drank way too much and collapsed outside from being so drunk. My dear viewer, what happened next is hard to say, but it has to be said. Namo took her to a hotel and forced himself on her against her will, while she cried and begged him to let her go. When Ichiko fought back, he hit her and kept doing what he was doing. A human breaking another human from the inside and out. Once Namo fell asleep, Ichiko's hands were shaking as she called the cops and filed a report against him, then walked back to her place alone in the dark, hurting and broken. A few days later, when Ichiko went to work, her manager asked her, "Do you know where Namo is?" The moment she heard his name, she froze like a statue. The manager told her Namo had been stealing money from the register, and the address on his resume turned out to be fake, so no one could find him. Ichiko just told him, "I don't know where he is," and that was it, just silence. But inside that silence, a whole storm was raging. A few days later, Ichiko stood in front of that boxing gym again, but this time she actually went inside. The gym owner gave her a flyer for a boxing weight loss program. Ichiko asked him, "So where's Kano?" The owner told her he quit boxing for good. Ichiko got sad and left, but that same afternoon, she came back, filled out the form, and then asked him, "Can I become a professional boxer?" The owner told her it wasn't easy. You're 32, which is the absolute age limit for women to take the boxing exam. But Ichiko couldn't care less. A fire had been lit inside her, and this time it was never going to go out. He got her a trainer named Komabayashi, and he started teaching her from scratch. Her first punch, her first block, her first step, everything from absolute zero. From that day on, Ichiko went to the gym every single day to train, then went to work, and then came back from work straight to training. Her life became this endless loop of sweat, exhaustion, fatigue, and more sweat. But my friend, for the first time in her life, Ichiko felt like she actually had a reason to wake up in the morning, and that she wasn't just breathing, she was finally truly living. One night, Kano stumbled into the convenience store totally wasted. He was in such a trashy state that he threw up in the store. The workers dragged him out and dumped him in the street like a piece of broken junk. The next morning, when Ichiko's shift ended, she found Kano still lying there in the street, soaked by the rain and completely broken down. Ichiko picked him up, took him to her place, and made him some soup to sober him up. Before leaving for work, she told him, "Stay here as long as you want until you feel like leaving." Kano was confused and asked her, "Why did you bring me to your house? You and Namo..." Before he could finish, Ichiko cut him off and said, "There's nothing between me and Namo," and there never was. When Ichiko came back from work that night, Kano was still there, but Ichiko suddenly collapsed. She had caught a really bad cold, complete with a fever, weakness, and the chills all at once. Kano tried to take care of her and cooked her some food. But what was the food? It was a massive, dry piece of meat that was impossible to eat. It was like he cooked a shoe sole. But Ichiko just sat there laughing and crying at the same time, with tears in her eyes and a smile on her lips. The food was absolutely awful, but the man she loved was taking care of her, and sometimes that's more than enough. The next morning, she wasn't totally cured, but she still went to the gym anyway. There was no way she was skipping training. When she got back, Kano told her, "I found a job, so maybe I should get out of here. I'm just getting in your way." Ichiko eagerly said to him, Stay here." That night, Kano made her a bunch of tofu dishes and told her he got a job selling tofu because he didn't have any other choice. On Kano's first day at his new job, it was Ichiko's day off. She thought to herself, "I'll cook for him today." She went down to the market, bought some really nice meat, spent a lot of money, and prepped the whole meal with so much care, love, and hope, then sat there waiting for him. But when Kano came back, he only took 2 bites, then got up and left to go to a comic book store. Ichiko waited up for him all night, but he never came back. In the morning, she was waiting out on the street for him and asked, "Why didn't you come home last night?" Right at that moment, one of Kano's coworkers asked him, "Who's this?" Kano replied coldly, "This is my sister." Just that one word turned every bit of beauty left inside Ichiko into ashes. She felt used and thrown away like a piece of trash, not like a human being. But this time, Ichiko didn't break. This time, she took all that pain, all that anger, and all that exhaustion and let it out in the gym. In every single punch and every single breath. She went to the gym owner and told him, "I want to take the boxing exam." The manager tried to reason with her, saying, "It's not easy. When you take a punch, it hurts. It's real pain. The training is brutal and the test is incredibly hard." But Ichiko didn't care. She was already used to the tears and the pain from a long time ago, just outside the ring. Over the next few months, Ichiko completely transformed. She lost a ton of weight, dropping 20 kilos. Her body got super fast, and her punches became like snake bites. The girl who used to be too lazy to get out of bed was now standing in the ring, drenched in sweat but glowing. The big day finally came, the boxing license exam. In her first sparring match, her heart was racing and her hands were shaking, but Ichiko held her ground, fought, and passed. Even the trainers were in shock, wondering, is this really the same girl? One day at work, her manager spoke to her disrespectfully. Ichiko didn't even think for a second. She punched him right in the face and got fired on the spot, but she didn't regret it one bit. One day, Kano was out selling tofu and walked past the gym. He looked through the glass and saw her. Ichiko was working out, throwing fast, precise, and powerful punches. Kano was glued to the spot in shock. Is this really Ichiko, the girl who never got out of bed? That night, when Ichiko got home, she found her dad waiting outside and they went out to eat together. Her dad told her that her mom had fallen and broken her leg and he was trying to run the store by himself but couldn't manage because they were short-staffed. He said, "Come back and help us." Then he looked really closely at Ichiko, as if he was truly seeing her for the first time, and said, "You've changed. You started boxing, you're living on your own, and you're standing on your own 2 feet. All of this is really great. I'm proud of you." Proud? That was the first time anyone had ever said that word to Ichiko in her entire life. The next morning, Ichiko went to help them at the bento shop. She played with her nephew, taught him some boxing moves, and told him, "If anyone picks on you at school, don't be scared, just give them little punches like this." The kid's eyes lit up with joy. While she was working at the shop, Kano came to buy food, but the second he saw Ichiko, he hid his face in embarrassment and ran away. Ichiko grabbed the food and chased after him. She found out he was now working in construction, carrying bricks and cement, and that the girl he was dating from work had dumped him. Ichiko told him, "I have a match this coming Sunday. Will you come watch me?" Kano asked her, "Why did you start boxing?" Ichiko paused for a moment and then said, "Standing in the ring has a certain magic to it, something I haven't found anywhere else in my life." But suddenly, someone called Kano to get back to work. He dropped the food and without saying thank you or even looking at her, he walked away, acting just as cold and indifferent as he always was. Ichiko stood there staring at him as he walked off, paused for a moment, and then turned around and walked back. This time, she didn't chase after him. This time, she decided that she was done running after anyone ever again. She was going to live for herself, period. To prepare for her matches, Ichiko poured all her energy into training, running long distances in the streets and alleys, in the sun and in the rain. Long hours of training every single day, breaking her limits and pushing past them more and more. The day before the fight, she cut her hair super short, as if she was taking off the old Ichiko, throwing her away and putting on a brand new one. The day of the match arrived, and Ichiko put on her gear, strapped on her gloves, and walked toward the ring with her back straight, head held high, and strong, steady steps. This was no longer the girl who just lay on the couch playing video games and hiding from the world. This was a completely different person. But the match was incredibly brutal. The girl she was up against was strong, fast, and experienced. Right from the first round, her punches rained down non-stop.
Ichiko was just playing defense. She was out of breath and her mouth was bleeding. She asked for a timeout, but she didn't give up. No matter how hard she tried, the skill gap was just too obvious. The first round ended, then the second. Ichiko's mom and dad were sitting in the crowd watching, their faces pale with fear. Fumiko had her hand over her mouth, and her trainer was super anxious. In the third round, Ichiko let out everything she had left inside her, every ounce of strength, courage, and anger, and landed a clean, solid punch right in the girl's face. But the payback came instantly. Ichiko hit the floor and everyone around her was screaming, "Get up, Ichiko! Stand up!" But this time, she couldn't get up, and she lost. But what happened after she lost was way more beautiful than winning. Ichiko slowly got up, shivering from the pain, walked over, hugged the girl she was fighting, and told her, "Thank you for this match." The girl who couldn't even get out of bed was standing in the ring today, covered in blood with a swollen face. But she wasn't broken, and her family, who had always given up on her and mocked her, all had their eyes filled with tears today. Tears of pride. Afterward, Ichiko walked outside, her face all bruised and swollen, and she found Kano standing there, just like she used to wait for him in the past. After Kano joked with her and said, "You look pretty messed up," Ichiko burst into loud tears and told him, "I just wanted to win, even if it was just this one time. I know I'm old and have no future in boxing, but I just wanted a win that was entirely mine." Kano took her out to dinner, and the two of them walked together down the quiet, dark street. My dear viewer, Ichiko lost this match. That's true. She fell in the ring and couldn't get back up. That's also true. But the real change didn't happen in that match. The change happened throughout the whole journey, climbing the gym stairs, working the night shift, and crying in her rented room with a broken heart. Training taught her discipline, the pain gave her strength, and all that struggling gave her a brand new identity that belonged solely to her and her alone. Sometimes the outcome in life doesn't change. You fight and you lose. You try and you fall. But after that struggle, you're not the same person you were before. And maybe, just maybe, those are the real victories. Life changes, but not always with a win. Sometimes it changes just because you stand on your own 2 feet. Just because you say, "I'm never staying stuck in the same place again." And here's where our movie ends. I hope you guys liked it. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new recaps. Peace!